Anyway, on that note, welcome everyone to our last part of the personal statement. So today we're gonna go over future goals. Part one of that, drafting. So yeah, but before we get into that,
Right, so we have a fun little warm-up question for y'all. Since we're talking about future goals today, I thought a fun warm-up question would be when we were young, or when you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up? I feel like everyone always has super fun answers, and sometimes they don't make sense. And that's okay because we were children. But I'm curious what you all thought you were gonna be, and if you did end up becoming that. Maybe you're gonna be like a researcher from the get-go. Maybe you didn't. I think right when I was young, I wanted to be a singer and an actress. Um, yeah,
theater kid
I'm
coming out.
I truly. I'm like, wait, what do you want to be?
Ever since like kindergarten, I wanted to be a paleontologist.
That makes sense. Yeah, I
I
feel
feel
like you
like I
love
can hear
sharks.
the in your voice. Oh, I had so many shark books as a kid.
I feel like they jump from like dinosaurs to sharks. It's not that much. That one's up.
I had a book I loved and I don't know where it is because I swear I doubt I ever got rid of it because I loved it so much. And there's all these like prehistoric sharks. I remember looking at it and being like, there's no way that was a real thing. Like evolutionary, that makes no sense. Because there was like one with a like saw in its mouth and one that's like a hammer on its head with spikes. And I'm like, what purpose would that serve? Evolution is all about efficiency.
Very true. Oh, animator or anthropologist. There you go.
Some very
Okay.
different things, but I love it.
Yeah. Was there like a studio you wanted to be an animator for? Like, was it like DreamWorks or Disney or like one of those, or was like like an indie animator?
Can you guys hear me? Or is it still
Yes.
broken? Okay. I wanted to Pixar. It was Pixar from the beginning.
Yep, that makes sense.
Dude, their movies make me cry. I
Dude,
saw
did you
Inside
guys
Out
watch?
2 last night.
Yeah, me too.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. I also just watched that movie and my sister was making fun of me because I cried twice during it. And she was like, there weren't even sad parts. And I was like, yeah, they're really cute. And that's why I cried.
dude, it hit too hard. It hit too close to home.
It was too relatable, I agree.
So really, you didn't want to be an animator. You wanted to make people cry and feel the feels.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I'm just messing with you. They are really good movies, though. I love Pixar. All right. Joanna, did you want to share? Did you know what you wanted to be as a kid? Oh, doctor. Love that.
That's a good one. I feel like, yeah. Well,
A
I
lot.
feel like that's the best though, when like little kids are like, oh, this week I want to be a firefighter. This week I want to be the president. Yep. Mhm.
I
See,
love it.
that's so cool.
I think
Yeah,
it's
and it's just like
great.
you have so many passions.
Yeah. You're exploring. Sorry, Lexi, I keep talking over you. I'm gonna stop now.
Good. Um, yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. That was the work that we had. As you can tell, it's kind of geared towards future goals, which is what we're going to be thinking about today. So we just wanted to get those creative juices flowing. And I know a lot of these we did not end up doing, but the next parts that we're going to be working on for the personal statements are things that we want to do in the future and how we get there in a realistic time.
Cool. So just really quick, the agenda for today. So first we're gonna go over, as always, the personal statement review, what part future goals is in that. We'll actually go over what we mean by the future goals section, And then, of course, do a little mind mapping, brainstorming of what that might look like, go over deliverables and what we're going to do next time. We are coming close to the end of these. I think we have 2 more weeks of gap meetings after this. But don't worry, you can still work on things and still meet with us after that.
Okay, well, with that, we're gonna review some stuff about the personal statement. Again, you can find this all on page 9. Yes, a little bit of that feeling, but don't worry, we still got you guys.
So, you guys have already seen this for the last couple of weeks, but just a quick overview. So personal statement is 4 pieces. Today, we are talking about the last piece of this. So all of these 3 just lead into your future goals and your action plan. This is going to be about a page long, so it'll be the longest section of this, but don't worry, it all ends up flowing together. You'll see what we mean in a little bit. But this section is going to outline your educational and professional development plans. So what we mean by that is, do you want to go to grad school? What degree do you want to get? What are you going to do with that degree, professionally speaking? That kind of thing. You're also going to share why your proposed grad advisor is a good fit for these goals, right? So maybe they're, the best in your field. Maybe they're really good at this one thing. Maybe they just have the equipment you need. Maybe the location is where you want to do research, and that just makes it easier. Whatever the reason is, this is your chance to show that you have thought about it. You've thought about grad school, who you want your advisor to be, and done the research to make sure that they are the best fit for you.
So now we're going to move on to the future goals and more information about that. And as always, we have the little pages that you can find all the information on the primer. So for future goals, it starts on page 11. But since there's so much information that you have to include in future goals, it does go for like 2 or 3 pages after that.
All right. So for the future goals, what you're going to want to do is open with a statement of why the proposed graduate program and faculty are a good fit for you. So with this, of course, think about how the program and advisor have the appropriate qualifications. So again, like, are they in your field? What backgrounds do they have? Maybe what existing projects are going on? How do they relate to your project that you want to do? Identify resources available to complete your proposed research. If you're planning to use this special machine and the school doesn't even have it, or that's not what they do there, then that's probably not going to be the best fit for your project. You also are going to take this time to describe the training you're going to do to hone your skills with. So this part is a little bit different than what you're usually doing, because usually writing saying, I've already done all of this, I am so capable, I can go and do it, right? Like, you want me. This is still doing that, but just kind of changing the framing of it a little bit. You are going to grad school. You are still supposed to be learning. If you already knew how to do everything, then you would already have the degree, right? So this is going to be your chance to show that with your previous experiences and the stuff that's going to be, the experiences you plan to have at your grad school, that you will learn what you need to learn in order to succeed. So it's okay to not have all of the answers now, is basically what this prompt is about. I'm actually not sure what the second part is.
Oh, I can talk about this real quick.
Take that one over.
In the primer, it mentions this thing, which is like the 5 NSF merit review criteria elements. So in the chat right now, I'm actually going to put a link to a document that NSF created, which this particular document mainly talks about 5 different questions that you need to answer when you're talking about broader impacts and specifically future goals. So a lot of these questions are things that we've already introduced to you of like, oh, what does broader impacts really mean? Why does your project specifically focus on that? What gap are you filling? So they're all questions that you all have heard before, just in different wording. And I thought this was a good document because it also just has like more information as well about each question and what each guiding principles each question is trying to address as well. So it also has other key terms and words. Thank you for going down for that. So we've all covered all of these words, but just things again to look at. And we will also put this on the Canvas page as well. So you will all be able to access it whenever possible. Because while you can use it just for future goals, you can also use it for the broader impact section as well.
This is amazing, Lexi. I didn't realize you found this.
Yeah, it's also linked in the primer as well, I think.
Oh, I should have seen that.
But yeah, so then on the slides, when you're considering this document, I just put some things that you should also consider. So using like existing programs at the proposed school you're going to go to help answer some of these questions and to make sure that like quantifiable aspect of your broader impacts is met. Another thing you should consider is if you're creating a new one, you need to convince the reviewer that it's actually impactful and achievable and like worth doing. So that's something that we also have introduced as well. And then the last one is if you're looking for something to basically prove that scholarship aspect, is a lot of universities, especially more research focused ones, tend to have assessment centers already on campus. And that's something that you don't necessarily like need to be in contact with them yet, but if you just mention the name or like a specific program that you know exists just from like the website, you can also include that in the like future goals section to show that you've done your research, you know this exists, and you plan to utilize it if you get the GRFP and if you go to that school as well.
Yeah, totally. Just to re-emphasize that, find the resources at your school because that's going to make you stand out in your application because it's going to show you've done your research, you've looked around, and you've actually thought this through. You're not just saying buzzwords to say them. You actually mean them and you have a plan. And that's, yeah, that really makes you stand out.
So continuing on this future goals line, we recognize that there are not just academic trajectories that you may be interested in. And because of that, there are different ways that you can frame your future goals section and also just different things that you can mention and utilize. So for anyone who's considering a more traditional academic trajectory, if you are talking about your future goals, you might want to include things like teaching or professional development opportunities. So again, you can include things that you haven't done yet, but are going to do by the time you would go into your proposed program. So if you're planning to work as something like a TA, you can talk about how that'll hone your skills and you're going to help craft inclusive things, or maybe it's like a different broader impacts program like Emily and I are doing GAP. We can also include that because we knew we were probably going to do it. But also if there's any like specific certification programs, they can be specifically for teaching. I know there's also different mentorship programs now that are opening up. So making sure that you have, again, that like scholarship aspect to make sure that you can prove that you actually know what you're talking about to some point. Just will help further cement you and show that you have proof of those future goals. And so then also for the non-academic trajectory, there's also different trainings that you can do as well to prove your scholarship and build those stepping stones towards your future goals. So that can be different training opportunities or even internships. And so I have just a little list. It's definitely not all inclusive. So there's many, many more that you can do, but internships can include for-profit industry labs, startup businesses, government agencies, museum and science centers, or just general policy. But when you're doing something like internships, it's important again to frame it properly. So not just saying that you're participating in something and, oh, I got accepted. Like, make sure you choose active wording and really illustrate all the different parts that you're like being a part of, not only, but also if you have any leadership or different roles in that, include that as well. And then Emily just put that UCSB has online courses available for mentoring and all sorts of skill building, which is amazing. I did not know that. So yeah.
Yeah, I used a lot of those in my writing because I wanted to bring my power group to UCSB. So I was looking at a lot of things to send, like, so I can train people to help me with my program. So I could send them to those courses, take them myself to fill that gap, right? And I'm not an expert in it yet, but how am I going to become one once I'm there? That kind of thing. Once you start looking, there's a lot, or there usually can be, especially with UCs. Cool. Did you have anything else to say on this part, Lexi? Are you good?
Nope, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, as always, now it is time to do a little activity. Today's is going to be a little bit different. Actually, thank you, Lexi, for putting that in the Jamboard. You guys can still see my screen okay, right?
Yep.
Cool. So today is going to be a little bit different. Instead of just kind of jotting down whatever idea, we're going to ask you to open up this Jamboard and add a sticky note first with your future goal. So for instance, I want to get my PhD in ecology, right? Actually, yeah, so that's my goal. That is my future goal. How am I going to do that? I am going to apply to UCSB, to Soto's lab, and the GRP. This is not, exactly what you're going to put in there, but just like, for example. Another different example, well, I have a goal of being a mentor for, with my degree. So my next part to that, well, I'm going to take, how do you say it? Pedagogy. I cannot with this word. Pedagogy? That one?
Yes.
Yay! Thank you. Courses at UCSB, and build those skills, right? So this is my future goal. I want to be a mentor after I get my degree. Well, I'm going to go take these courses to help me get there. So those are examples. So now I invite all of you to think of your own examples. Just go ahead, if you want to just start with your goal, you can do that. And then think about how you're going to get there. And you don't need to know, the exact specifics right now. Obviously, this is still a brainstorming exercise. But we'll take, does 5 minutes sound good, Lexi? Or do you want
That
to do
sounds good.
10? Okay. We'll start 5 minutes. So until 4:30, jot down at least one sticky note is going to be your challenge for a future goal. And just try to think of a simple step on how you're going to get there. And if you need us to write a sticky note for you, please just let us know. Or if you want to unmute and talk about an idea. I mean, we have a little bit of experience on finding sources and stuff, so more than happy to help or try. Yeah. All right, so 4:30. Thank you both for putting down some ideas. So just looking at them really fast, we got learn how to communicate science more efficiently through the scientist, farmer, worker, consumer pipeline. I love that. So understanding and recognizing that relationship is going to be very important, and I highly recommend you tapping into that more. Um, So study journalism, technical writing, great. Those are great tools. Great scholarship, right? That can get you there. I also recommend, looking at volunteering. How might you go talk to your audience, right? I also recommend sorry, this is my own little personal thing, but there's the National Association of Interpreters. Um, Oh, wait, am I frozen? Have you been able to hear me?
We can hear you, but your video is a little funky.
As long as you can hear me. Um, the National Association of Interpreters is a certification you can get well through that group so you'll be a certified interpreter. And they don't, it's not like a language interpreter, it's a communication, a scientific interpreter. So that could be something to look into as well for that. If you're interested, send me a message, and I can send you what I know. Anyway, so going under that, PhD in soil science, love, applying to UCD, University of I'm not sure which M that is, in the Grossman Lab or Godin Lab. There you go. Yeah, great. Right, you already got your schools and your labs. We also got obtained PhD in forensic psychology, so cool. Inform myself through literature, do interviews with forensic psychologists. Yes, great. Get the information. I also recommend doing that soon so you can start asking them, hey, how can I prepare myself? And see what they say with that. Inform yourself of the process of applying to schools that have accredited title. Um, yeah, great. We love it. And I added a little partying victory emoji at the end. Great job, guys. This is a great start to get you thinking on the steps to getting your future goals. Lexi, do you have anything to add here?
Nope, you covered everything.
Woo. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the slides. Slowly but surely. Okay, you want to do this slide?
Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this really quickly so that I can give you all time to work on your mind mapping. But we made a couple of other things to consider. This is, of course, in tandem also with that other document I sent you all with the 5 different merits. But again, that scholarship, so really like what experiences have given you the ability to achieve those future goals that you set out. And then also those gaps. So what experiences do you still need and how are you going to fill that gap either before graduate school or while there? And then how will you ensure that these experiences will adequately prepare you? So again, that's more of like, will you present? Do you have an experienced mentor? What are those qualifications that are going to make sure that you have the knowledge necessary? And then another thing to consider is your future goals and those steps unique. So how are you going to utilize different resources that you have? Is it something that someone's already done? When you explain all of those details and provide the evidence, you want to be specific, but you don't necessarily have to give numbers. So if you're setting forth a curriculum, you don't have to say, oh, I'm going to make this curriculum, which is going to be super cool, blah, 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 and I'm going to teach it to 100 people. That's a lot of people. Also, you don't need to go into that much of detail. Because that can seem really daunting and you just don't need it at that point. But you still need to give all those details of what that curriculum is going to be like, how you're going to spread it out to different people, and how you're going to make it like inclusive as possible. And then again, has anyone done this before? And then how is your plan different? similar to what you have to do when writing an abstract or any of those other research prompts. What gap are you filling, really?
So now we're gonna go into a little bit more work time in a moment, but really quick, does anyone have any questions on anything we've covered so far? This one's gonna be a little different than the other sections, so it's okay, if you want any more clarification on anything. Cool. All good for now. So now we're gonna go into our usual work time until 4:50. So you can take this time to continue mind mapping your future goals. Or if you want to keep using like the Jamboard, you're welcome to go back and do that. But as you do this, think about your mission statement. What is your end goal? How are you going to set the stage for what you want to do? And as always, use color, bold stuff, add pictures or emojis, make it so colorful and make it yours. Whatever it is that's going to help you get your thoughts down and a little organized is what we want you to do. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. Otherwise, we will meet back at 4:50. Do you all want me to go back to one of the slides that would be helpful? I'm not sure which one. This one? Or do the trajectories? This one. So this one is good. This was the. I'm gonna leave it here. Let me know if you would like a different slide. So sorry, I did not see the time. Great job, everyone. Does anybody have a small goal they would like to share before we go into our last slides? I got a Zoom link created. So it's so productive. Any small wins, make just you know, one or two thoughts. That's still progress, still good. No small wins? Nobody? All right, we'll move on then. It's okay. Small goals are just that small. All that matters is, see, you brainstormed. That is sorry, I keep saying goals. Small wins. Wins are all, you got to celebrate every little thing. You brainstormed a little more. That's great. We're not giving you a ton of time right now, because we're limited. But just that you're thinking about it and it's a process. Brainstorming is a process. Lexi and I both have had really strong applications. We did not get there overnight. It took us a lot of time of just thinking about it and doing research and then thinking some more and then doing some more research and then going back and forth. So you got to celebrate the small achievements. Even if you don't see anything on the paper, that doesn't mean that you didn't win. It just takes time. Yeah.
With that. Oh,
Sorry. I was just reading the comments.
no, you're good. Do you want to go over the comments?
Sure. I pointed out to keep location in mind, which is duh, but to be honest, I hadn't included it in the plans before. That is not, yeah. A lot of people think, oh, location shouldn't matter. That's not really the case for everyone. There's certain areas where, I mean, I even tell people my degree and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You're in California. Kind of lucky, I just love California, but for, our degree, makes a lot of sense to be here. Or well, on the West Coast in general, right? But it's not even just that. Keep in mind your safety, keep in mind your happiness. Grad school is a big thing. So, certain things matter a lot to people. And you don't want to end up somewhere for the next 5 years and be absolutely miserable. Because that's going to make the work harder and you're going to lose your fun for it. So it's always good to keep them in mind. Don't let, yeah. You decide what's important for you. Anyway, sorry, Lexi.
No worries, that is all very good stuff. But again, with all those small wins and all those things you have all been thinking about, here's some more other things that you can continue thinking about, which is your emails to potential faculty, the broader impacts drafting, the intellectual merit drafting, and now our new section, which is the future goals mind mapping. So again, you should be trying to juggle all of these things at once. We know it can be a super lot. It kind of helps sometimes when you bounce between some of the things, if you get stuck on one project and work on another one, because all of these take a lot of time and effort, and they all have to be done around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, and please don't feel like you're really far behind because we are giving you a very accelerated time. Like, every meeting we're already on another thing. That's because we have a limited time to give you all the information that you're going to need. But with this, you also have all the materials now, so you're prepared and you can go back and watch these recordings. You can look at the slides, look at your notes, look at the primer, look at all of these resources you have now and know where you are going to go in order to finish this. But anyway, to keep in mind, it is about halfway through July. You should definitely be sending out those emails around now. A lot of things, you can kind of do at your own pace. This should really be the top of your list though right now. If you haven't already started sending emails, get those out. Make sure you're following up. You can do that every week, every other week, whatever feels comfortable to you. If you get an email that they're out of the office, just wait until they get back and then send them an email. No point in sending them if they're going to be gone. If you want help with anything at all, please let us know. You can schedule appointments with us, email us, whatever works best. We are here for you.
Again, talking about working on these different things and which things need to be done first. We have our summary timeline, which of course is always on our canvas. But again, these are just some of the things that you should be thinking about and their priority level, because some of them you should do a little bit before. Like the portal, you can do that pretty close to when it's actually due, but things like your personal statement need to be done pretty far in advance, because you might have some last minute things, especially with things like your research plan. You need a lot of different people to look at that and review it, and there might be edits, especially since you will hopefully be working with your proposed faculty that you will start when you get into graduate school. But again, all these dates are here. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll be going over the research plan next week, which should be the last thing that you all need to really know about before having all the knowledge that you need. Yeah.
The end is in sight. Well, I guess for us, you all still have a couple months, sadly. Well, good though. You still have time. Sorry, I'm chuckling because we did this last year, so we understand. Understand the pain. Anyway, as Lexi said, next meeting we'll do more work on the personal statement for future goals. We'll work on storyboarding again, getting you ready to draft. If you can, keep working on mind mapping. Highly recommend it. Just to have you a little prepped for Thursday. But again, if life is life right now, then get to what you can. You can always come back to these things. But we do expect you to be doing a lot of work outside of these meetings.
Now, to finish us off, we all have all the resources are here for all of you to access whenever you need them. They're also on our canvas. So that includes the NSF virtual office hours, which their next one is what is it? Thursday? Yeah, the 18th. So if you have any questions, be sure to bring them, because they can answer a bunch of different questions. I think they can also help you decide what section you want to submit some of your stuff in. So if you're interdisciplinary and you're having trouble decide or want to hear from like an actual reviewer, be sure to attend that, because they can answer all those good questions. We also have Emily and Mai's Just Right sessions. Oh, the NSF stuff is on Canvas, but we can also put it in the chat right now. I will put it in. Okay. So that should be the link to the questions and virtual office hours. But yeah, they should also be on our Canvas, I believe. If they're not, we will add them. But yeah, if you have any questions that aren't necessarily for NSF and you just want to ask us, feel free to come to our Just Right sessions, which will be tomorrow from 3 to 4. And then we also have our drive with all of our different recordings and slides from previous sessions as well. So if you have a question about different sections that we've already covered, feel free to go back and look at all those good things. And I think with that, that is everything we have for you today. So thank you both for coming. And it was a little small group today. I think we still had fun.
Just really fast too, like Lexi said, next week we're doing research plan. The week after that is gonna be a work week. So that'll be a great time to still come and we can work with you on mind mapping, finding lit, anything you need to do. We'll be there. But yeah, thank you guys.